Welcome to Makers International, a podcast of makers from around the world, talking with makers from around the world. Here's Jamie Page, Steve Twidell, Chris Cute, and now your host, Richard Morley.
Hello. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good times, whatever time it is and wherever you're listening. Joined with me, as always, Mr. Chris Cute.
How you doing?
Mr. Jamie Page.
Hello.
And Mr. Steve Twidell.
Hello.
He's here as well. Fingers crossed, hopefully we're all hoping desperately that Sebastian will be able to join us. He is having a few issues with his interweb connection at the moment, so we're told. But hopefully, for your sake more than ours, he turns out, because otherwise you're just going to have to listen to us rabbit on this evening, I believe. But very, very quickly, whilst we think of something to talk about, I'll quickly run through this week's shout-outs, thank yous, and all that jazz. So very quickly from the top, shout-outs this week go to Jim Dockrell, Tom Spillane, and Harneal Media. And it struck me this afternoon, I don't know why I thought of this, but for the last probably 2 years, I've been saying Harneal Media and completely been getting it wrong. Because it is Harneal, isn't it?
No, I'll call him Steve.
Steve. Well, it doesn't make a change for you to get things wrong anyway, does it?
And he's Steve.
Absolutely. Which kind of flies in the face of the conversation that Chris and I were having before we went on air,
Yeah,
actually, doesn't it, Chris?
Yeah, pretty much.
Never mind.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
as always, tonight's podcast is brought to you in part by Yorkshire Grit, the Woodturners Abrasive Paste, our good friend Chad over at Mancrafting, Pam from Highland Boxes, and because Steve reminds me every week not to forget Steve Harneal at Harneal Media as well. If you want to find out more about our sponsors, then please do. I would suggest getting over to makersinternationalpodcast.com/sponsors. And I believe Jamie's put all the information for all of those good folks for you to see on the website. Is that true, Jamie?
That is.
Excellent. Chris, do we have any random listener questions from the week?
We do. The question is, did everyone make it through the great YouTube blackout of 2018? Okay. Did you come out unfair? Did you lose a nickel because your videos couldn't be seen? Or how did you fare through this tragedy that happened?
The blackout?
Yeah, the blackout.
The only blackout I had was under general anesthetic.
Well, just apparently earlier in the week, if people, just in case you're not aware, apparently YouTube went down worldwide for a short period of time, and there were some folks out there that were seriously freaking out. It was like
I was actually watching Eloy Escajedo's live show when it actually all went down in the middle of his show. It just went. And the funny thing was that all I did was hit refresh, and I had his show the whole way through. Ireland wasn't affected, and nor was Germany. Anna from Germany was watching it too. It was just us two in the chat talking to each other, and everybody else was dead.
What day was this? Because I honestly saw somebody post something
Tuesday.
Like one of the...
Tuesday.
Yeah, it was early to midweek. Yeah, it was like Tuesday or Wednesday. But Steve says Tuesday. I'll go with that. He's got a better memory than I do.
That's mad, because I think like sometime during the early part of the week, I saw somebody post one of those Facebook memes that said, YouTube is broken, that is all. And I just put it down to one of those stupid Facebook memes that you see every 5 seconds.
No, they went down across much of the world, apparently. Not all of it, apparently, but a lot of it. There was issues. And there was people that were, oh my God, what happened? What the hell? You know, and then, of course, all of us jerks and, assholes all of a sudden started picking on them going, oh my God, did you make it through the great blackout of you? So it's just my way of pushing some people's buttons. That's all. I'm sorry.
Honest to God, I had no idea. I did not have a clue that there actually had been one. I just thought it was one of those.
Well, I didn't know about it until the following morning either, Richard, because I was in the middle of watching a baseball game. I mean, I wasn't even on the internet, so I had no clue what happened until the next morning when I saw my Facebook feed full of all these, oh my God, what happened? Then I started laughing because then I saw people that I knew that are, born assholes just going after these people in a panic-stricken craze. It was rather humorous. I'm sorry. But anyway, that's the only question I had for this week. I'm sorry. I come very much unprepared today.
Well, even if we had come prepared, because actually I'd been pretty much binge watching this afternoon. Sebastian's channel and refreshing some of the older videos that I'd watched previously. And at the moment, it was for naught because he's not able to connect at the moment, but fingers crossed he'll be with us later. It might be worth actually explaining to people listening live, although it's actually not going to make any difference to whoever listens to the recorded version of this on their preferred MP3 player. Why we're a little bit late this evening. Do we want to tell people that and embarrass ourselves, or should we just gloss over it and pretend it never happened?
Well, I mean, we can. I will defer blame on YouTube just because YouTube seems to be a good scapegoat today. We started the show as normal, and Jamie and Richard, Steve, and I were in the room chatting away the way we normally do before Richard pushes the go live button, and we come to you, lovely people, in our living color. And then we went to go do that, and all of us realized that we didn't have the push the button, go live button. We were apparently just in a regular hangout and were unable to go live, so we had to set up a new show. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Fair play. So that explains to the live listeners.
The live listeners? Is that a word?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is now.
We've just actually got a quick question as well from out in the chat, coming from Kat from Hippie Noodle.
Uh-oh.
She wants to know, where is Teddington, and is he the new show mascot?
He is, as a matter of fact.
He is here. Show yourself, Teddington.
Hello, Ted.
Who's this?
Sup, Ted?
Should I refer to him as Theodore when I first meet him?
Yeah, he's laying on my lap.
Teddy, good boy, Teddy.
Did he want a treat? Did he want a treat? Did he want a treat?
At this point, I should probably point out to everyone, particularly those of us in the hangout who are trying to do a podcast, I've got headphones on. The dog can't hear.
We'll put them on Teddy.
The dog. He'd probably be more interested than you anyway.
They were actually talking to Richard.
Well, there is probably that.
Good boy,
Richard. Want his
Richard.
belly rubbed.
Get a good boy, Richard.
That's a good boy, Richard. Oh, good boy, good boy. You want a treat? You want a treat? Or do you need to go out? You need to go out?
So yeah, cheers for that, Kat. I've got the dog here. Brilliant. And Steve from,
dog.
yeah, and thanks to you as well, Steve from Moonshine Metalworks. Finally, a worthwhile host.
On that note, I am going to go stock up. I'll be right back. You guys carry on.
Boom.
Yes.
Yes, we should just put all our pets up next week, and just put the headphones on them.
I have to make some pretty small headphones for a fish.
Well, you're a
How did
maker,
they
aren't you?
have-
First of all, I've got to buy a fish.
Oh, you could buy a really big fish.
A shark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what actually are we going to talk about tonight then? Because not me, or we could talk about the dog, just not me.
Yeah.
Dog.
Well, that's it, folks. Thank you
Chris,
very much. And
Chris seems overly enthusiastic about the baseball.
Well, we don't have to. I'm not going to talk about baseball during the Maker podcast. That's kind of silly. Yeah, in case anybody's wondering,
what wood are baseball bats made out of?
ash.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
are they not hickory?
Well, they used to use hickory bats, but they shatter too much, Steve.
Oh, okay.
And all the time we're talking about baseball.
And they actually back in the old days used to use oak, but the oak bats, are much heavier to swing than ash. Ash is a lighter wood.
And didn't the ball used to be some internal part of an animal too?
If you say so. I don't know.
Or was that a football? No, that's a football. I think.
That's football. It's pigskin.
Or soccer ball.
Soccer.
Soccer. Oh, football. Excuse me. I'm sorry. You say football, I think of the oblong thing. You're talking about the black and white circle thing.
Foosball. No, that's a rugby ball.
I give up. I don't know.
What about handy?
I follow one sport. It's baseball. That's the only sport I follow. Anything else, I'm oblivious. So go ahead and rock on with what you're going to say.
It's hardly a sport, though, is it?
No.
Don't start with me, Paige. Just don't start. Surely there's better things that we could talk about today than that.
But there's everything we could talk about better than sport.
Thank you.
What then?
Let's talk
No,
about rounders.
I don't know.
And there's one down. I got 2 to go because I'm telling you, every week this podcast is a 3-beer podcast. I don't mind telling you. On the bad days, it's a 4-beer.
Well, I think it's going to be a 5-beer this week.
Well,
I'm going to go for my bets are on a 6-pack.
If Sebastian doesn't show and I'm stuck with you for an hour, that could be the case. I'm just saying. I was really hoping to talk with somebody else. Hold on, I'm getting a message.
Sebastian.
Yes.
All is forgiven.
So genuinely, I literally have no idea what we're going to talk about to this evening. If anyone in the chat listening live has got anything they want to ask or kind of throw in, by all means.
Yeah, we could do a quick Q&A, I suppose.
Q&A, the podcaster's cop out.
Yeah.
But what have you guys been actually up to in the Because we never talk about what we're doing ourselves and all this. I know Steve's been doing a lot of tiling.
Yeah, and I'm hurting.
We're hurting as well.
I've had surgery.
Listen to it, and because Jamie, you finally had your surgery, haven't you? So how did that go?
After I don't know, I was asleep.
But
They're amazing, those lobotomies.
Yeah.
But
well, after 5 years of waiting, I eventually got it done. And apparently they basically broke my heel and put a 2-inch screw in from the back of my foot and then directly into my ankle to straighten it. And apparently they said they were going to put maybe a 1/4-inch slot in the back of my heel. And that was all they were going to do. But you know when you kind of cut yourself and you can kind of feel the skin rubbing against each other, where it's split apart. Where I've got the cast on it, and the cast it's moving a little bit. Steve's playing around with his screen.
Little sicky emojis.
Yeah, where the skin's kind of rubbing. It feels like it's like the scar is going right the way down the side of my foot. Because after the actual surgery, they started talking about putting plates and that in my feet and all sorts. So it seems like it's gone from a screw to a plate.
But do you sure that the doctors weren't actually talking about your feet? Because down in your neck of the woods, plates of meat does mean feet, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. So
he actually went in to get his wrist fixed.
What's even worrying is I'm sure they've confused me with other patients before. So I'm hoping they have straightened it and not done something else to it.
You mean there's somebody else out there like you that they could confuse you with?
Yeah.
Oh, good grief.
Yeah, you think you've had me on for 100 episodes.
Oh my God.
He's like 2 inches shorter or something now, and
yeah, walk with a limp.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, here he is. Here he comes.
Hey,
Good day.
excellent. He's literally going to say,
Sebastian.
His camera's not there though.
That's all right. I mean, if the best we can get is your voice, Sebastian, that's just gonna have to be good enough.
Sorry for being late. I have troubles here. I don't understand why, but that's how it is now.
It's all good.
That's all right.
well, it's working now. That's all that matters. So I'm sure Chris will be able to fiddle something in with the editing.
Yeah, I'll just put up various, every time you talk, Sebastian, I'll just put up some goofy face. Don't worry about it. And
Okay.
and Red, hey, thanks. I take it the Red Smith was helping you out to try to get on today, right? And so, Red, if you're out there and you want to hop on with us, and please feel free. The link is open to you, mate. I mean, we can sit here and I'll talk to Sebastian at the same time, I'm sure.
Yeah, if he wants to message me, I'll send him the link.
Well, I've sent it to him twice already, Jamie, so he has the link
Oh,
if he
okay.
wants to join us.
Okay.
Kushti, well, you're here, Sebastian, and that is really all that matters. The fact that your camera's not working this evening is by the by, really, because I think most people listen to us via their sort of podcasting apps anyway. So thankfully for most viewers or listeners, they can't see us anyway, which is probably a good thing, actually.
It's just
certainly in my
unfortunate.
case.
It's just unfortunate for the live viewers because obviously you would be the best looking one here if we could see you. It's just,
Oi, oi,
I
oi,
don't think
oi.
so. Look at Steve. He's handsome.
We try not to.
Oh,
And
yes.
Jamie. And
Look at-
Jamie.
Oh, yeah, I like you already, Sebastian.
oh,
You and me are going to get on just fine.
Only because
Sebastian,
he's wearing my t-shirt.
don't feed the trolls, Sebastian. Jesus, God.
Oi, don't make me get George out.
No kidding. So, Sebastian, how are you, sir?
Oh, thank you very much. I'm fine. Day was great. I'm a bit tired, but everything's fine.
Fantastic. I mean, but last thing I want to do is kind of cut this off short. So it's probably safe to say that we're going to run over a little bit this evening in terms of time-wise. Sorry, Chris.
That's all right.
So I guess we probably start off at the beginning and tell us about yourself, how you got into making, and what you're up to on YouTube. So what started you off making?
Yeah, I started making. I started watching first YouTube videos and decided that was a good thing to try. Maybe give something back to the community. Try to make some videos and upload them. And I wasn't making any woodworking or something like that before. I worked as a car mechanic, but due to certain circumstances, I couldn't do that job anymore. So I was home a lot. So I started watching YouTube videos, and when we bought our house, there were some carpenters at work, and I was very much interested in woodworking or carpentry, and that was the short story. So I started making little projects from wood, doghouse, starting with a doghouse, then a fireplace, so a firewood rack or from pellets, and just recorded myself.
But what was the sort of the catalyst, if you like, for you talk about building your house and being interested in it, but why then make the leap from deciding to make things for interest's sake to then put them onto YouTube?
This started with I have a disease called Crohn's disease, and
Okay.
After some surgeries back in 2013, I think, the doctor told me that I was not supposed to do any hard physical work anymore, and to hear that as a grown-up man, it's pretty hard. So I was pretty down, and I needed some kind of job or something that could support me financial in the long run. So to say, a passive income or something like that.
That makes a lot more sense, because I mean, YouTube is not a get rich quick scheme as anything.
Exactly.
And also, just to relate it to the health, like you say, to be told as a grown man that you can't do physical work, you've got boredom setting in as well, which
Yes,
obviously doesn't help. So do you get out into the workshop a lot?
yeah, I do. But the only time limitation that I have, I get pretty quick tired and such things. But I do my best.
Well, I mean, that's all we can do, regardless of circumstance. So.
Well, trust me, you're doing good enough. I mean, especially for somebody who's only been at it for as long as you have. But I don't want to pry too much, Sebastian, but back in 2013, when they gave you that news, that had to be crushing. I mean, and to see, I mean, I'm just putting myself in your shoes as best I can. I can't really, 100% do that, but I'm thinking to myself that if somebody told me that, man, to see what must have been like an extreme low for you in your life, we're talking about 5 years ago, to where you are and what you're doing now is a massive transformation. I mean, you've come a long way, my friend.
Yes, I'm very happy that I got this opportunity. So I'm very thankful for that.
That's impressive, and it's inspiring. I mean, it's just, to see somebody come from, I don't know all the details about Crohn's disease. Maybe some of the guys that are, with me today would know more about it than I do, but what exactly, that's a disease that does it rob your muscles, or what kind of disease is that?
That is like a irreparable bowel disease. So what is it? Intestinal.
It's your intestines, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly,
right.
exactly. So it's like you get every time that there's a how would you say it? So every time you need a surgery, the doctors cut out a bit of your intestines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it
yeah.
Sorry, Sebastian. Isn't it like the lower intestine and
both.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Both
Yeah.
and,
Okay.
And all the other. So this is a cancerous like disease. So it's not curable, but it can be held in some kind of place. So.
Actually, Gerald the Red Smith is talking to me off the side here, and he's saying, "Can you tell Sebastian to close the other hangout that he was on with me to get his video? Because you might be able to get your video feed back if you close that other So if you were on a hangout with Gerald before, close that hangout, and you may be able to open up your video on the hangout that we're currently on."
Okay, I did.
All right, well, then go up to the top of this one and hit the little the settings thing and see if you can locate your camera and click on your camera, and we might be able to actually see you. If you see,
I did it. Can you see me?
Nope.
No, still
No,
not.
I guess we'll have to put up with my gorgeous face instead. Sorry, Sebastian.
What he'll have to do is leave this hangout, then come back to have the time to give the camera to reset. That's what happened last time.
Well, Sebastian, if you want to try that, I mean, feel free.
Yeah, I can. So,
all right, then we'll carry on without you until you rejoin us. So
okay.
Go ahead and sign out and then sign back in, and we'll talk to you in just a few minutes. Hey, it's like we're not trying to be professionals here, guys. I mean, we're just trying to bring you the we're trying to bring you the guy we were hoping to have on with us. That's all.
The minute we pretend we're professionals, it's all over.
Yeah.
Not even worth the hassle trying. Not in my book anyway. But I don't know how many videos of Sebastian's you guys have been watching. I think I watched about 7 today. And one thing that strikes me about his videos is they're so varied in terms of materials and also the actual project. And it's almost like there's no set defined thing. It's this one week, that another week, and something totally different the week after. And it always keeps me on my toes as to what's going to come next. Does that make sense? Like, nothing against Jamie or Steve, but I can pretty much guarantee that if Jamie's going to put a video out, it's going to be turning and scroll sawing.
Yeah.
And whereas you just never know with Seb, and I really like that.
It's kind of like you put out a video, it's going to be boring.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it fits the same category as the scroll sawing, doesn't it? It's just that I don't use scroll sawing to do that.
There's one video I'm really looking forward to, though, and that's you building cat
step. Yeah, blah blah blah. Yeah, I thought that might
be a really good one. That should be a really good video. That
I'm overwhelmed with the amount of love being shown here today. I don't know what to...
Yeah, you know what's going to happen next year when we go to Make Essential? It's just going to be a brawl in the corner, isn't it? The four of us, like our podcasts on, seem scrapping in there. Goes
I wouldn't waste my drinking time on you.
We'll each have to sit in different corners of the room. Yeah, and that ought to be interesting.
Throw actual physical things rather than just insults. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I hope that Sebastian's able to get back on. I hope I didn't just totally screw things up. Oh well.
Walking towards you with a baseball and baseball bat in my hand, saying, "Look what I made, Richard." Catch.
Yeah, but it'll be made out of oak, won't it? Though, so it'll break really easily.
No, it'll be out of hickory because that's what they're supposed to be made out of.
Yeah. Oh dear.
I'm not going to go down this path.
Mind you, if we was on all different corners of the room, maybe we'll have a better signal than we did last year. Better audio.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's possible. I mean, there's nowhere else to go except up from there, Jamie. So we're setting ourselves up for success next year, one way or another.
Poor Joe.
Well, it
He
just
loved it.
oh
He
God,
loved it
Bless
after
him.
the fact.
Yeah.
I love that little clip of him at the very end of that show where he's just like all smiles, and all of a sudden he knows he's off the air and he's like, "Holy shit!" His head goes immediately in his hands, and his head is like, "Oh my God!" That was.
I genuinely think though that next year, if we do that, if we just have one mic, I think it'll work. I think it'll work absolutely fine. I think it was I think it was the fact that we had multiple microphones on that it was doing what it was doing.
Maybe
with the reverb, because we all had our mics sat, but you know the like Joe's mic that was right next to me was picking up me talking, and whoever was sat on my left, I think it was Chris. His mic was picking up me talking, and mine was picking up him talking, and I think that's why we got all the reverb. I think if we just had the one mic, it would work.
Yeah,
I don't think it helped with the TV being behind us either.
But the TV wasn't on in terms of noise.
volume-wise, it wasn't now. But hey, whatever. Here you go. See, this is how we work things out. This is how we're approaching Maker Central next year. This is going to be fun. Speaking of which, we are planning on having a Maker Central show next week.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, Nick Simetti is scheduled to join us. I'm not talking to you guys anymore. I'm in the middle of doing 4 things at once right now, trying to do a live show with you guys. Talk to Red Smith, who's trying to help out Sebastian, who's trying to log in so we can get on with the Today Show. So do me a favor, carry on, boys, and ignore me. I'm going to mute myself for a minute. Hold on.
I was actually laughing at Richard because the amount of times he says, "Are we?" to do with this show is unbelievable.
I do one show at a time. That way I can only screw one show up at a time.
Do you know there's such a false sense of professionalism when you're not actually on the show, but when you do actually join it, you realise what a complete and utter.
The bubbles burst out for you, isn't it, Steve? It's completely burst.
Yeah. I just constantly think, what have I done? Never mind. What are you going to do?
Steve Harnell's saying we need to hire an audio engineer.
Well, I was actually going to say, I think if you link the mics in series with each other, not to individual computers, I think they all act together and work together. You can set them up that they kind of cancel each other out as you talk.
Maybe. I don't know. I've no idea. Keep it simple. Just have one mic, and then it's nice and simple, isn't it?
Well, here's a novel idea. Maybe it would be just a good idea if you guys would learn how to click on the mute yourself button when you're done talking. It's a button. I know it's complicated, but just like that. Yes, Steve, exactly. And then when you have something to say, unmute yourself, and then everybody else mutes themselves. It's not a difficult task, guys. But
I haven't quite got it right. I accidentally mute Chris like that.
But the problem with the whole only unmute yourself when you're talking is you get distracted by the conversation, but also it then ends up turning into some kind of military radio network because everyone just talks over each other and it doesn't quite work because it's supposed to be like, do you see what I mean? It's like a conversation, but if you're like talking now, mute. And then there's this, you see it get this broken, paused conversation between people. Over.
Okay. Hey, I'm just trying to offer solutions. I'll go back on mute now because I'm trying to work with Sebastian.
Fair
If we
enough.
just say over every time we said something over.
But then it depends on what we're talking about over. And then nobody's talking because everyone's now going to be muted. This is not going to work.
Roger, over.
That's what would happen, wouldn't it? You know, you've got to put. Oh God, no, that'll be
Who's Roger?
exactly.
Do you know what? I just nearly hit the stop broadcast because you said it was over.
Oh God.
No, it's not. On time is allowed. Afterwards is probably preferable, but before time is not allowed. I'm deliberately not touching my keyboard at all tonight because I don't want to get told off again.
Why? Are you afraid that maybe today's episode could go wrong? I mean, God.
I'm here. That's wrong enough.
Hello. I don't mind telling you. It's like, if this isn't the epitome of what a train wreck is on the internet, then I don't know what is.
Yes.
But you know what? At least we give the folks who are watching live in the chat a chance to look at us and go, "What a bunch of idiots!" And you know, they'll feel better about themselves when they go to sleep tonight. So, those go. At least I wasn't those guys.
Yeah.
Chris, they already knew we're a bunch of idiots. They don't have to watch the show.
I'm just surprised by the number of people that want to sit and listen to.
Oh, they're there because they're laughing at us, not with us. There's a difference. They're going, okay, this is funny. Let's see how much more they
I
can.
wouldn't want it any other way.
That is both understandable and relatively obvious as well.
So I take it we're not going to be talking about other people today, since we have no right on earth to bring up other people's names and belittle them. Okay.
So Wayne the Woodturner has just jumped in here and said, Richard, maybe you should explain the difference between Roger and Wilco. I suspect he might know a little bit about my kind of military background, because I was actually in the signals, and effectively Roger is the guy that works for Wilco's, and Wilco's is the company.
What is Wilco's?
Like Wilkinson's.
Yeah.
I'm unfamiliar. What kind of company?
There's a company, there's a shop in the UK called Wilco's.
Okay.
I think they do car parts and a bit like Halfords, but you wouldn't know them anyway.
Okay. No, I don't. But thanks for filling me in.
Yeah, no, it was kind of an in joke that didn't work because you have no idea who Wilco's are.
Hippie Noodle says, "Bring back the dog."
I don't know where the dog
is. Cat, I love you. I absolutely love you.
Hell, get Cat in here.
Yeah, really, Cat, why don't you hop in there and you know, and push this along a little better than where it's going, because right now, yeah, it's totally derailed, and we're 40 minutes into this thing. Unbelievable.
Moonshine Metalworks has jumped in and said, "Will comply, Roger, the cabin boy." He's actually fairly close. Is anyone actually interested? Because there is a
Captain Pugwash.
Yes, Richard. I mean, you might as well tell the story. Otherwise, you're leaving us all wondering what was the point of you even opening your mouth. So, yes, tell the story.
Yeah, if you really have to, Richard, go ahead.
Okay, Wilco's is a housewares and hardware store. First of all, let's get that straight off the bat.
Yeah, no, we know, because I was talking about radios and the whole mute and over and Roger and all that, weren't we? We were talking about that, and then somebody, Wayne's jumped in and said, explain the difference between Roger and Wilco, because Wilco is another word that is used, and Roger is a way of saying I understand what you've just said.
It's an acknowledgement. Yeah. Roger is me saying I acknowledge what you just said.
Yeah, no, Roger is I understand what you've just said. And Wilco is I've understood what you've just said, and I will do whatever it was that you just said.
Okay, Roger, Wilco, and out.
Yeah. So, and it's bizarre because each little word, each single word means like a thing, like a sentence, and actually like an action or something to keep things simple and short and all the rest of it. But
Roger means something completely different over here.
I'm afraid to ask.
No, you don't want to know.
Okay. I'm assuming this jargon. I'm assuming this jargon was invented and used when communications between people was rather sketchy. Am I? Would I be incorrect in assuming that?
Yeah, but the whole thing is used still because it's short. It's like a shorthand way of having a conversation, so you don't need to be talking for long periods of time.
Oh,
Yeah.
so we could do this podcast in say 10 minutes as opposed to an hour if we want. Roger, we'll go in and out.
If you broke our right,
Pretty
yeah.
much.
Okay. Oh, that's kind of appealing. I kind of like that.
Anything to shorten this, that would work. Cool. So, have we got any news from how Seb's getting on?
They're working on it. The last I heard from Gerald was that Sebastian was rebooting his computer, hoping that would solve the connection issue that he's currently having. So,
Whose idea was it to tell him to go away and come back again?
I don't think we're not pointing blame or anything, are we, Chris?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say something?
No, nothing, Chris. No.
Hey, I wasn't the one who offered up the suggestion. I just said, "Hey, you might want to try that. Give it a shot." I just kind of went along with whoever brought the suggestion up. So don't go crapping on me, boys.
So you just said what someone else was thinking.
No, somebody else actually said, "Well, maybe if he rebooted and tried to re-enter the Hangout, it would work." I go, "Yeah, you could try that." And that was just me agreeing with the process. Not, I didn't come up with the idea. So back off. What the hell? Why is every week? Why do every week when I come on this thing do I find myself in a position of defending myself somehow? That's just not right.
Hold on, I think it might be.
The other Steve just said he might invite Seb on Fools with Tools to him and record to him so he gets a proper podcast experience.
We should do that. It would probably go much better than this has gone today. So yes, Steve, let's do that.
Definitely, seriously though, what you need to do, Steve, is do it live on the internet, and then we can jump in the chat and heckle you.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
Let's see how long you last for an
Exactly.
R-rated show.
Hold on. I've got the
Dark
perfect thing.
Primal.
Click on me. Click on me for a second. Now.
All right.
There you go.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you the following public service announcement. You are watching this of your own free will. Thank you. Now back to your regularly scheduled broadcast.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Mr. Berkey.
Thank you, Andy.
Thanks, Berkey. You're a rock star.
Just remember, you're watching this of your own free will. No, that's awesome.
So Jamie's been lying down, getting cut up, and is now recovering. Steve has been telling people how to break into people's cars.
No. I've heard that. I'm not saying that people should do that at all. That's illegal. It's breaking and entering and entering other people's property. The fact that they're an asshole doesn't matter. I'm just saying. Apparently, it does happen.
So what have you been up to, Chris? Are you still working on your kiddies projects?
Yeah, that and burying Carmen Gia's under. Yeah, no, that I've stolen. I know a guy who did that once. Anyway, yeah, I think we all know a gentleman who, in his youth, might have borrowed a Carmen Gia, then realized he was in no position to return it, and then instead of getting in trouble, he and a friend just dug a big hole and buried it. It's, to the best of his knowledge, it's still there today.
Do you know what? You've just reminded me.
Under a coffee shop.
But to his credit, he never did break into a bank to steal an Elvis bobblehead. And names will not be mentioned on this podcast that haven't been mentioned before, because we know somebody who did that too, which was an awesome story. Which was the reason why he couldn't make it to Makers Central last year. If you're unfamiliar with that, then you may want to visit the episode of ours that we did with the boys from maybe I said too much, and you will discover who we're talking about there, but I cannot divulge names without that person being in the room. So anyway, it's just nice to know. Yeah, go ahead.
Your ass. That's all.
Well, yeah. My only defense there, Steve, is I know for a fact I can outrun the dude. If he comes after me, he's not catching me. But yes, Richard, to answer your question, I am still working on toys for kids that I can make, and that's actually have a project on the go in the shop right now that I actually half an hour before we went on, I had to put down to come sit down and talk with you guys. So whether I go back out there again after 3 beers, I doubt. I don't think that'll happen. No.
Was it the idea I gave you?
No, but I do have that idea in the back of my mind, Jamie, and that may happen. I was in the middle of working on what I'm working now when you told me about that idea, so that's why I'm not working on it at the moment.
Is it like a gallows for cats or something?
No. I think I've abused the kitty cat enough in the series so far, don't you? I mean, well, I hit it in the head with a Nerf ball. Calm down. I mean, it's like you're gonna get ASPCA on me, and it's not gonna be cool.
Up it to a rock.
No, I'm not gonna do a rock. Not for the cat. Because that actually is a pretty cool cat. She hangs out with me in my shop all day long. So, but so she's just there to be abused. I mean, that's just happened to be a situational thing that happened. So, what can I say?
Fair. When you were talking about burying the car, actually, you reminded me of a story that I heard a few years ago now, about a Ferrari that was found in a swimming pool that had been filled in.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, and it kind of dates back to the early 70s where somebody bought if it's the same story, I googled it. It might not have been a Ferrari, but I found this story about a Ferrari Dino that someone had stolen, disappeared, and they buried it in a swimming pool. So that they've got this empty swimming pool, and they drove the car into it and then filled the swimming pool in. And for whatever reason, it got basically lost, forgotten about. Nobody went near it until 2012 when it was dug up and restored, and it's back on the road.
That sounds like an insurance claim.
I've honestly no idea what the background. I mean, there's quite a long story on here, but I'm sure it's probably not the only story. But yeah, I just thought it was quite cool that this car vanished in the 70s and then was found in 2012, and now it's back on the road because it was dug up and restored. Can you imagine finding that in your garden? You didn't even know you had a swimming pool there. Started doing the law. I tell you what, dear, let's have a swimming pool in the back garden. That would, this is really easy digging, isn't it? There's already a swimming pool here. Brilliant. Hang on, there's a car in it.
Oh my God.
That'd be quite cool. That would be quite a cool story. So
I remember years and years ago, I was digging up a back garden of a friend of the family. The father had just passed away, so it was me and his son was doing it for the wife, just to basically help her out a bit. And I mean, the weeds were like maybe 6-7 foot tall, like thorns and all this stuff. So we ended up getting a digger in and all that lot. And as we was digging, and she had completely forgotten about it. As we was digging, we found a rear axle of a Rolls Royce. And what had happened was back when they got married, like in the 70s at some time, right? He actually stole a Rolls Royce, took her out on a date, right, and then buried the car in their back garden.
You're kidding.
No.
Well, wow.
And all that was left of it, or all that was there, we found was the rear axle.
Not exactly the kind of faith I'd expect in a Rolls. I'd expect it to be a little bit more rust resilient than just a rear axle. Well,
I mean, the rest of it must have gone elsewhere. I mean, the garden was only small. You wouldn't expect a whole Rolls Royce to fit in the back garden. But
I can tell you this, and it's a story that was handed down from my father about what a couple of his brothers did. Hey, look at that!
Hey guys.
Hey, Sebastian.
Hey.
Sorry again. That's so stupid. I don't know how it works, but that's my phone actually that I'm trying it on right now.
That works fine. We can actually see you too. So bonus.
Okay.
So, Rich, you want to start out? Hello, or what?
Well, that is the thing. I mean, I mean, we're what, 10 now. Is it worth basically to do this justice to reschedule a whole show for Sebastian, or should we go on a wee bit later, or what's everyone's thoughts?
Well, let's ask Sebastian, because he's the one. I mean, it's now what, 10:30 your time in the UK. It's 11:30 at night for Sebastian right now.
Yeah, and it's very embarrassing for me that this whole thing doesn't work out, so that you all had to wait for me. So
it's not your fault, mate. These things happen.
Yes, it is. Look,
do not be embarrassed whatsoever.
No, not at all.
No, not your fault at all.
And honestly, Sebastian, we would love to have you on for an entire hour that we could talk with you and get to know you and let people know you as well. So if you want to reschedule this, I can get in touch with you when we're done with this today, and then we'll work out a different date between the two of us, and then we'll just totally reschedule it. So
I get me a new computer somehow. I don't know, but I will fix this. But that was. So.
Jamie, do you know what our schedule is off the top of your head?
I can quickly get it now. I'm on Facebook.
We've done everything else in today's show. We might as well sort this out as well.
We've got a show that's supposed to be just the four of us on the 4th of November, but I think that was the Halloween show, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's actually, we got Nick Zametti on with us next week.
Yeah. Then we're all booked up. The 18th is the last show we've got somebody on.
Okay, let me see. So
the 25th will be the next show.
So basically, a month from now, Sebastian, is the next date we have. Do you think you can sort out whatever issues you have within a month's time?
Yeah, at least I get some time to buy me a new laptop or something.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and tentatively schedule that. So we'll try to do this a month from now because we want to give you the time that you deserve, as opposed to the cluster F that happened today. So
that's what happens when you. Yeah, I mean, these things happen. I mean, I've done lives before and they just haven't worked, or they've just randomly cut out, and that sometimes it just happens. But while you're here, while still back, and it is kind of still working, where can people? I mean, you've got a very successful YouTube channel, and I'm sure people listening have watched you and seen you and kind of know who you are. But if they aren't aware of you, where can they find you on the YouTubes and the socials, etc.? And what can we expect from you in the future?
So the simplest way to find me is on YouTube. Just search for Ollaris. I'm the first that comes up, so it's pretty simple. Or at www.ollaris.tv. That's my homepage.
Excellent. And all the links to all your socials are on there as well.
Everything is there. Yeah.
Excellent. And what can we expect from your channel in the near future, or are you even prepared to kind of tease us a little bit?
I have some furniture builds coming up. It's taken me a while, about 2 months. I had some trouble, but now new projects are leatherworking. Some I don't say more.
No, that's fine. I am totally into leatherworking. That's the next craft I want to kind of dip my toe into to see if I can have some fun. It just looks like it's. I was talking to Gerald, the Redsmith, about this when he was at Jimmy's house, and I was telling him that it just seems like a very relaxing, therapeutic kind of thing that you could just sit down and do and chill out while you're doing it. So yeah, and not worry about cutting your fingers off. You know?
Exactly.
It does seem to be starting to be a more almost fashionable side of making at the moment. If that's a
you can make some cool stuff out of leather. I mean, you really can.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing it at all. But there does seem to be a sort of almost a resurgence in leatherworking in the last few months, 12 months ish.
Tandy will be happy to hear that.
Do you know, well, that was the other thing I was going to say is. And Gerald will appreciate this because I was chatting to him about this at Maker Central this year. Just up the road from Cats in Northampton, which is like the UK's shoe industry, or at least it used to be, there was a massive Tandy Leather, and they've just closed it. It was a huge leather warehouse, closed it, and it's all gone up to Manchester to their other shop. Gutted.
Oh,
absolutely gutted. But there. just to end on a happy note.
Yay.
Well, wonderful. While we're here, Sebastian, is there anybody that you have been out watching that you would like to make sure you give some love to today, or do you just kind of like actually you don't care about anybody else? And
really, I have more than 500 channel subscriptions.
Oh,
that I
geez.
subscribe to, so I watch many, lots of stuff. But the most important for me right now is the man himself, the Red Smith, with the t-shirts here. So he just hit 40,000 subscribers on YouTube here, I think.
Awesome.
Today.
Congratulations, Gerald.
So to Gerald, keep on doing, mate.
Absolutely. He is awesome too, by the way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely
Deserves
can't argue. And he's just kind of done a little jiggle around in his forge as well, haven't you? You've seen that?
Yep.
He's got a cobbled, nicely tidy. He does look very tidy.
I don't know that the word tidy and forage have ever been used together before, but
No, honestly,
that's okay.
The pictures, because he did have an earth floor, and now it's all nicely kind of paved with block paving, and the pitch. Obviously, because he'd been in there working, it was tidy because he'd just finished and taken the photo. But it genuinely looked very all kind of nice and tidy.
I'm sorry, it's just maybe it's an American thing. You say tidy, and I picture a kitchen that is glistening with cleanliness, and I'm going a forge being tidy. That just I don't know, whatever. I'm sorry. What about you? Anybody else got a shout out? Jamie, I know you always do.
Yep. I've before I do, am I muted or something? Is that why you're laughing?
No, I'm laughing just because this is ridiculous.
Your face.
Yeah.
All right.
So shouldn't have answered in there. He was muted, wasn't he?
Yeah, but before I do, I've got a few things on the old Jamie's page. First of all, I want to quickly duplicate what Sebastian said about Red Smith hitting 40k. So well done, Gerald.
Cheers.
Secondly, Mr. Dave Gunner has just launched a new segment on his channel called Makers Showdown. It's basically where makers duke it out against each other and make something, and just challenge each other. And so he spins some fancy wheel that he mismade, and tick, and all that sort of stuff. So if you fancy taking part of that, head over to Dave G Designs on YouTube for more information on that.
It's Pam and Joe, isn't it? The first one.
Yeah, Pam and Joe. Yeah. So there's that, and another one goes to Anna B's workshop. All about Anna. This one, right? So I set up a T-shirt campaign for Anna, for Anna's B's workshop, so she can get her T-shirts out into the community. Now, the reason why I originally started this is I wanted to get my hands on some of her merchandise, and she actually didn't have anything, and she didn't have a store or anything out there. So I was like, right, look, we get something out into the community. Now, she's always been so helpful to everyone in the community. She's so nice and polite to everybody, and she'd give you the shirt off her back if she could, So basically, now's a chance to help Anna out, and by promoting her by getting one of her shirts. Now, in true Anna fashion, she doesn't actually want to benefit from this campaign financially. So she's putting the money directly back into the community. So once the campaign is over, all the money is being donated to a certain cause. However, that certain cause at the moment is being kept a secret. But however, if you do wish to know who it is, feel free to contact me, and I will tell you, because obviously you have a right to know where your money is going. So yeah,
we just don't want to publicly lay it out there because that person doesn't know that they're going to be receiving this. And they want it to be a surprise. Okay, got it.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
we want it to be that person buys a T-shirt.
Then they get told something different.
Oh, sneaky!
And
like it,
right? So the campaign ends on October 27th. It comes in a variety of different colours, the T-shirts. There's a link for it on the podcast website at makersinternationalpodcast.com. You go to the top of the page and there's a tab at the top that says Anna Beach t-shirt campaign. So that's that one. There's also another one that I want to mention, which is also on the podcast website. A little while ago, or quite a long time ago actually, Brandon Summerlin, the son of Rob Summerlin, put out some prints called 65 Roses that he made. He's still got a few of them left for sale. I contacted Rob the other day to see if he was still selling them, which is why I'm bringing this up. So I don't know if Steve wants to tell you a bit more about Brandon before we go off air.
Yeah, he's a nice bloke.
There you go.
No, Brandon
Do you want to
is
tell us a bit more?
Brandon is a 21-year-old child man now. I've known him since he was a baba. I'm actually his godfather, and he has cystic fibrosis. And just a few months ago, his lung capacity went down to a very, very low point, to the point that he was about to lose his life, and he got a double lung transplant.
Wow.
And he is now doing incredibly well.
That's good to hear.
He had a bit of a scare last week, a minor rejection, they call it. They weren't worried about it. He had some medication and stuff like that, and it got leveled out and sorted again. But yeah, he's doing really well. He's gone from, I think he was on something like 14% lung capacity, right up to 90-something% now. So
Wow.
yeah, thanks to a very unselfish family and deceased person, Brandon has another shot at life. So yeah, that's what that's all about.
Yeah. So
Jamie-
yeah, them prints are for sale on the podcast website as well.
Awesome.
Or his Brandon's details to contact Brandon.
And they're actually quite good too. So if you want to head over to the podcast page and look under, is it under products, Jamie, or is there's actually a link for it, isn't there?
Yeah, it's actually it's got its own private tab at the very, very top of the page, and Brandon's email address to contact him to buy one is all under his own personal tab.
Awesome.
Can I just add to that? Sorry, Brandon is an unbelievable artist, and he also takes commissions. So if anybody wants any artwork done, he's very he's kind of a dark artist, you know, kind of a tattoo-y type dark artist. So if you're into that kind of thing, like the heavy metal and rock and all that kind of stuff, then hit him up and he'll commission a painting for you.
Awesome. What about you, Steve?
And on to my shout out.
Jamie, you've already had 6 of them.
That weren't my shout outs. That was my Jamie
show.
That was, my pen has run out of ink.
My shout out this week goes to all the guys at Crimson Guitars. I had a chance to meet them at the Woodworking Live Show event with Record Power, and I got to see some of the guitars that Ben makes in person, and they're absolutely incredible. He's also just brought out some different color microcrystalline waxes, and of course, I got to see him use his incredibly famous range of stains as well. So yeah, Ben Crow from Crimson Custom Guitars on YouTube.
Fantastic, thank you. Hey, Sebastian, how you doing? It seems like a year since we've talked to you. How you doing?
Fine, thanks.
Okay, good. Right. Just checking, my friend.
Sebastian, welcome to Jamie's show.
Steve, please tell me you have a, meaning singular, a shout out for me today.
I do. I have a very good shout out for you today. A very, 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 very young maker by the name of Vance Maker. He is Tim Sway's son, Vance. He has just made his own Grim Reaper scythe for his Halloween costume. and he made it out of an old broomstick and a piece of plywood, and he did an awesome job. So good job, Vance. He's going to be a YouTube sensation. I know it now already. He's got such a backing from the community, but he is amazing. He used the bandsaw, I think, for the first time in this video, and his dad just sent him on his way, and he just rocked it. He cut the rest of it out all on his own, and good job, Vance. You're rocking it.
He's an awesome kid too, by the way. I don't know if anybody has met Vance before in the past.
No, I've not.
Vance is a 30-year-old, 10-year-old. Vance is an awesome child. He really is. He's cool as hell. What about you, Richard?
Well, I'm gonna shout Pete Brown out this week. Have you all seen his Minecraft Torch video?
No, who's Pete Brown?
Pete Brown.
Who's Peter Brown? Wow, Earth to Steve.
I don't know if anyone's seen it, but he makes a resin cast red kind of tinted end lantern like from Minecraft. So it's basically square shaped and with a torch in it. It was awesome. But the reason that it kind of stuck out in my mind was because he deliberately did a bad resin pour, and he kind of effectively did everything wrong in inverted commas to how you'd go for a good resin pour. And you know, when people make the molds, the resin molds from like the corrugated plastic, and then hot glue them together and pour them in, because he's using polyester resin, it gets really hot, and he adds loads of catalyst, like 100 times what you'd normally add in terms of catalyst. And I was just waiting for it to get so hot that it melted all the hot melt glue, and then the mold fell apart, because that's exactly what happened to me when I first tried to cast, and it didn't. And I don't know how, I don't know why it didn't or what glue, but it just turned out awesome. And it struck in my head because I was watching it going, oh, that's going to fall apart. That's so going to fall apart. And it didn't. And I didn't quite understand why, because I know polyester resin gets really hot, because I've been actually using some, if you hear that, this week, and it does get really hot in the cup. So it just awesome.
So you were basically remembered that because you were disappointed that it didn't fail.
No, it wasn't a case of disappointment. But you know when you watch a video and then you read through the comments and someone goes, "Oh, that'll never last," "Oh, you should have done it this way," "Oh, that'll fall apart in a week," and it doesn't. And then 3 years later, the person on the channel goes, "I'm just going to revisit these projects from 3 years ago, and it's still here, and it looks like I've just finished it." It was kind of one of those moments.
No, I got it. Okay.
Nice I do like it when that happens. So yeah, that was the memorable.
Okay. Quick note to self: don't ask follow-up questions of Richard. Okay. Sebastian, how you doing? Just checking in.
I'm still fine, thank you.
All right, awesome.
Everything's neat.
That's fantastic. All right, how about I finish this? Oh my God, what a cluster this has been. A quick shout out for me today isn't anybody's channel. I've been contacted by so many people, to folks that are getting involved in making things for underprivileged kids this year, or helping out kids in some way for this upcoming holiday season. People have climbed on board and said, you know, I could make something, I could do that, and I'll do that. And the people that have said that they were going to hop on board and do at least one project for a child this year, I'll go through them quickly. These are all the names I currently have. So if I leave you off, then I apologize. Dan Brent, Charlie Kasork, John Wills, Ronnie Lopez, William Walker, Shane Cole, Marsh Wildman, Gord Roberts, Jan Rohr, Bernhardson, Robbie Reed, Chris Mann, Larry Potts, Patrick Sheffield, Jonathan Willis, and hopefully there will be more of you people out there that do this as well. So I just wanted to give those folks a shout out and say, awesome for you to do something for kids in your own communities. Fantastic. Cheers to you.
Wicked.
Very cool.
I think that's probably the show tonight, isn't it? Is that
I'll drink to that.
We've covered everything. Sebastian, we will have you on for a proper show, for the whole show, because I want to know a lot more about you, because I do genuinely enjoy watching your I've got a list of about 7 of your videos here that I wanted to talk about tonight, and you weren't here to talk about them. So
sorry again. Sorry.
It happens, but we'll run with it, and we'll have a proper show down the road. So we've got something to look forward to that. So
at Makers Central, he can join us on stage.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were here. You were there this year, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
You're planning to come next year as well.
I do.
So we'll make that a date as well. I think that sounds good. Good call, Jamie.
We should do that. Absolutely.
Wicked. Well, a big thank you to everyone listening. If you are still listening, if you're not, we'll say what we like about you. Until next week, when apparently we've got Nick Zametti on with us. Who knew? We will see you later.
Everybody
so until then,
except you.
everyone except me. Yes, that I can believe too. So until then, you all take care. We'll catch you later.
Have a great week, everybody.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
How's that, Shaq?
Bye.
Wicked. Can we just watch the viewers drop down now? So are we going to carry on for a couple of minutes, or are we actually going to call it quits there?
Oh, I don't care. We've been on for almost 2 hours now, anyway. So I mean, we
Oh
can,
yeah, that's
Not
true.
going to make any difference at this stage.
they've got to be sick of us at this point.
Fair enough. Well, I will knock it on the head as far as the live broadcast goes then.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.